Hi, I'm Ztarli, and in this video I'll be customizing one of my mermaid templates using the Acid Spitter Drake from Dave Dragons as inspiration. This is one of the templates I made for MerMay and is the starting point of this video. If you'd like to see how I got to this point, there is a video containing all of my MerMay templates. If you'd like to use one of my templates, they are available from my DeviantArt or from Discord, or you can just message me and ask for them. So to customize this template, basically what I'm doing is I'm sketching on a new layer, the parts that I'd like to add to the existing line art. Once I'm happy with how the sketch is, I will then create a third layer and I'll line art that sketch. And then I will erase the original template away where the new line art crosses over and combine them back together so that I end up with one complete line art that has been customized from the original template. And as usual, I am using the smoothing tool. I think I had it on the lowest setting or the second setting. As my hand is a little shaky, I do find it easier to have the smoothing on to get much nicer, cleaner, crisper lines. Otherwise, they just don't look as good. So I decided to use the Acid Spitter Drake from Dave Dragons as the inspiration for this mermaid, rather than just sticking to just a fish. I like to experiment with different things in MerMay. We have an art jam every May in which I invite a bunch of my art friends over and we randomly roll to combine our mermaids with other things just to see what other ideas we can come out with. So I like combining different things like different animals and different fish, rocks, plants, all sorts of different things, and I find it a lot of fun. Acid Spitter Drakes actually lend themselves well to aquatic things. They're covered in all these large fins that go along the sides of their heads, along their backs, and along the sides of their tail. The tail themselves isn't terribly aquatic. It's like just a bunch of spikes, but I actually really liked how the tail of this ended up, and it's actually my favorite part of the whole picture. I did struggle with some components of this, particularly the shading of the character. You'll see later on that I chose some sort of reddy autumny colors for the merman, and it just turned out to be a nightmare to shade. I just couldn't get the right shading tones. They just weren't very easy colors to shade. I got there in the end, but I wasn't completely happy with the shadow tones I chose. I was much happier with the highlighting I did, and how this tail ended up looking overall. So that's the edited template done. I'm going to move on to coloring now, but I did actually save this line art and make a female version of it too. If anybody would like to have a go at coloring it just for fun, just let me know and I'll provide you with the blank line art. So the color scheme I chose was the charred embered skin of the Acid Spitter Drake. As mentioned before, these colors gave me trouble later on with shading. I couldn't really get the shadow coloring right. It does look okay in the end, and I think the highlighting layer does definitely save it. But charred ember is one of my favorite colors for the Acid Spitter Drake. I think I made this one a little bit too red. I think it's in some lights at least it looks a lot darker than this, and I think I went a bit overboard with the brightness of the fins, but he's not actually an Acid Spitter Drake, so artistic license. So that's pretty much all I have to say right now, so I'll just let you watch the video and I'll just jump in again if there's anything of interest. So here's the dreaded shading I was talking about. As you can see, I start off with a very dark, unusual color, but that's basically how I normally shade. I just choose a random color so I can see where I'm shading, and then I make adjustments to that layer afterwards, choosing what color and blending mode I would like. You'll see in a moment, I'm about to go through a bunch of different colors and a bunch of different blending modes. I pretty much use every color and every blending mode, and I'm still not happy at the end. But it is what it is. It's just a difficult color for me to shade, and you can't be good at everything. So it's just one of those things. So I've decided to use colored line art for this one. So basically what I'm doing here is I've locked the layer that has the line art, and then I've just grabbed a color and I'm just coloring over the lines that I'd like to be different colors. So I'm using orange for the fins, and then I'll change to a brown color for the body and a brown color for the hair as well. I think it really makes a difference in your line art if you use colored lines, especially if you're going for a more softer look. I'll also duplicate this line art and blur it to soften it even more. So I think I'm actually obsessed or addicted to this brush at this point. I pretty much use it for every single background I ever do. Any excuse to use it and I'll be using it. It's my textured wood brush that I made, as many of you know. I made it for my brush tutorial video, which I will have a link for if anybody would like to know how to make brushes in Artflow. I do have a video for that, which is where this brush came from. I made it just as an example to show how to create textured brushes, and I kind of became obsessed with it. So you'll see it all in a lot of my other videos. I've now started using it as a smudge brush as well, which I was just doing then. It actually makes some really pleasing textures when used as a smudge brush. So here I just saved a copy of the image and then loaded it back in and blurred it a lot. And now I'm using the eraser tool to erase parts out of the blurred layer to create focus for the image. I actually in the end decide I like the unblurred version better, but this is generally how I like to create focus in a picture. So I'm just going to add a final gradient here and then the image is complete. And as I mentioned early on in the video, I'm actually super happy with how that tail ended up. So take a good look at the tail. In my opinion, it's the best part of this picture. Here it is, the finished unblurred version with his magnificent tail. Thanks everybody for watching. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, don't forget to give it a like and subscribe to my channel if you'd like to see more. I also have a Patreon if you'd like to support me. Thanks again for watching and I'll see you all next time. Bye!